Hello, Aaron Shiner here. Welcome to another video in the Pro Agent series. Today, what we want to look at with laser focus is vendor feedback and how we report effectively. Because here's what I know. An informed seller will make an informed decision. An uninformed seller will make an uninformed decision. And I think the theme of today is this thing called react versus respond. And let me explain what I mean. Whenever you're having those tough conversations with your vendors and they're coming out of left field, so the very first time they're hearing about it is in that conversation, you don't get a logical adult response. What you're getting is a knee-jerk reaction. So I want to share some strategies with you so when you sit down with a vendor to have those conversations around accepting offers or changing marketing strategies, the vendors have had time to logically process the information. Now you're not getting a knee-jerk reaction, now you're getting a logical response. So for me, that comes down to having really good reporting, vendor reporting systems and processes in place. And a common question I get asked is, Aaron, what are the things that we should include in our vendor reports? What are those things? And for me, the first one is very, very simple, and that is the direct feedback from the buyer. Buyer's name, what the buyer said. Now, here's the first challenge with direct buyer feedback. A lot of agents will massage the feedback, change it a little bit because you don't want to be brutal with your sellers. So what ends up happening is, as the agent, we become the vendor defender, and I can tell you this, that doesn't help any vendor make an informed decision. But here's the challenge. In the past, you may have put down exactly what the buyer said, and then the vendor comes back to you and says, hey, why did you say that about my property? Because they're receiving that feedback from you. They're assuming it's your feedback, not the buyer's feedback. So what's the solution? And it's a really simple one. When giving feedback from buyers, what you do is put it in italics. So you write quote from the buyer, put it in italics, and then deliver the feedback. Because that way, the vendor can see this isn't what you as the agent is saying, this is what the buyer is saying. Again, informed vendor makes informed decision. They've got to know exactly what the buyers are saying. So that's one thing. The next thing you need to be able to do is have a benchmark around internet views. So you can say, this is how many internet views you had for the week, and this is how many internet views we had on average for all our properties. So they can see if they're above or they're below. The next one you want to include is number of email inquiries from the portals. So number of inquiries. You also want to include days on the market. What your days on the market is versus what the average is. You also want to talk about trending news. You know, what's actually going on? Are we in a buyer's market, a seller's market, auction clearance rates? Whatever it may be, trending news is very important. And then for me, the two most important ones, and that is overall price range from buyers. So you take your high price range and your low price range and you display that. And now the most important thing that you can include in your vendor report is agent recommendation and advice. And this is where you as the agent write one or two sentences or a paragraph on what you see happening or what your recommendations are. And you put that in writing before you ever have a conversation with the vendor, because it gives them time to review it, it gives them time to digest it. Now when you sit in front of a vendor, you're not getting a reaction, now you're getting a logical response because they've had time to actually process it. So have your recommendation on what you think the marketing strategy should be, what the price should be, or what the reserve should be. That should always be done in writing before you have that conversation. Remember, react versus respond. You don't want your vendors reacting to these conversations, and typically they will react because that's the very first time that they've heard about it. You have a really good vendor feedback management system or process. Now you're going to get good logical responses. So there you have it. Implement these into your business. Can't wait to hear the feedback. Keep an eye out for the next video in the Pro Agent series. Until then, list and sell. Have a great day. Bye for now.